When Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine began in February 2022, the world saw explosions, refugees, and front lines. What most people did not see was the quiet work of scientists, still asking questions, still collecting data, still trying to save lives and landscapes. In laboratories, in classrooms, in forests, and on the front lines, 3 women are weaving science into survival. Long before the current war, Chernobyl was already a symbol of disaster. For radiobiologist Katrina Shevanova, it was also something else, an open-air laboratory, rich with questions about life in a radioactive world.
It's all about different type of microorganisms, bacteria, and how they impact on radioactive substrates and how radiation impacts on microbiological community. It's actually really important. You may heard about microbiomes, about human microbiomes, and it's very important to study that in different natural like ocean, soil, ice, and sometimes in volcano. It's a lot of nice work about that, and we were a part of big international community who study Chernobyl. It's a place of huge anthropogenic catastrophe, and also it's a place with great research opportunity, and near 40 years it's a place like a laboratory, and like open air laboratory.
What began as a catastrophe became a place for understanding how life adapts to invisible danger. For Katrina and her colleagues, radiobiology in Chernobyl exclusion zone meant resilience in ecosystems and in science itself. But that fragile routine of fieldwork and lab analysis would not last. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched its full-scale invasion. Within days, Chernobyl, the site of Katrina's research, was occupied.
Life before big war comes, it was really nice as researchers there, but since 24 February 2022, our research project dramatically changed there, because we should stop all laboratory work in Chernobyl exclusion zone, because it was occupied more than months, and our laboratory was destroyed. And when our team should change our radiobiology works mostly to the radiation protection, nuclear safety, and all this stuff to explain people about radiation impact on human health, what should we do and how should we be ready to all nuclear risks we have. It's not only like Chernobyl and BP were occupied, and Zaporizhia and BP is still occupied, and we should be ready.
In a matter of weeks, the careful pace of radiobiology turned into the urgency of protection and communication.
It's like something between science and communication, because not all people know like deeply science or even basic science from school, and you should find the right word to explain different group, and it's a challenge sometimes, but it's important to communicate with society, with civilians. It's like from students and till the I don't know, Ministry of Ecology. You should be ready to explain why your science and why nuclear safety is important.
Hundreds of kilometers away from the front line and across ocean, leukemia researcher Ilona Svejan-Siva is also living a life reshaped by war. Her path weaves through science, journalism, motherhood, and a country she still calls home.
Actually, it wasn't like transition from medical science and medical journalist to my biomedical research, because since my third year of college, I was involved in research somehow. I did my research during my master program, during my college time, and also during my PhD. After my PhD, I moved to Canada, where my husband was doing his PhD program in history of Ukraine. I couldn't find, in that small town, I couldn't find a direct job as a scientist because there was no position in leukemia research for me. I started working as a medical interpreter and helping patients, to non-English speaking patients, especially Polish and Ukrainian speaking people, to understand doctors in local hospitals. They were treated for cancer as well and for leukemia as well. So I still was somehow involved in that research. COVID started, and I started writing a little bit about what is COVID, why it's happening. I was trying to explain Ukrainian people that, like, being in Canada, that like staying home and making social distancing is important. So we moved from Canada in the middle of pandemic, and I already had a baby to Ukraine. So for me, it was like easier as a young mom to start working in science journalism, and I started working for Ukrainian broadcast company as well as for Kunst and others, helping to explain the importance of immunization, also additionally explaining people about other health issues and also other biomedical research. But I still was involved in leukemia research because I was volunteering to Canadian Leukemia Society, trying to analyze published articles, like what I could do as a young mom to do from home, to analyze published articles and to find the needs of patients, young adults in North America, and tried to make their time during treatment easier.
Storytelling sharpened Ilona's ability to translate complex science for people in fear, a skill that would become vital once war began. When the invasion started, Ilona's life turned again, this time on a highway out of Kyiv.
War in Ukraine changed my life completely, because having like 2-year-old child, I was about to move very expensive city in North America. Boston is one of the most expensive ones in the whole United States. But my husband volunteered to army, and the first day of when the war started, he volunteered. So for me, it was also like I had to flee from Kyiv by myself to find a way, because Kyiv was bombed from the beginning of the war, of the first day. So I fled, and I was new established driver. I went, like, I turned on a highway and I realized, oh my god, it's my first day driving in a highway. I had to be independent. Moving to America, I was also doing it all by myself. I'm here, like, being a single mom, like, not single, I would say solo mom. I was looking for a daycare. I was trying also to do my research. There is another big aspect of my life is like being a wife of soldier who is like combatant right now, who is fighting. He's near Pokrovsk, which is the hottest part of one of the hottest part of war right now. And it was like nights where I couldn't like find him, or I couldn't sleep because I knew that he was in danger, or I couldn't even like concentrate and pipette and do my experiments, and like I messed up my experiments only because I had to worry a lot about. And people here try to understand, but they can't, like, they cannot completely understand my experience here. But somehow I love to do research. I love leukemia. I love what I'm doing. I love my career that I'm trying to build despite like anything is happening in my life. So I think it is something that gives me resilience to fight through the life like we have right now. It's interesting. When I joined Harvard, for me it was like something like unbelievable. I did my PhD in Ukraine. I didn't publish Science or Nature. I published like in local journals. Like coming to Harvard, it was like the craziest dream came true. So I came here, I met all of those brilliant people around. My PI, she's physician scientist, so she doesn't have a PhD, she's just MD. So she's also bringing, and one of my colleagues who is also just MD, they are also bringing a lot of experience from working with those people who are struggling with leukemia. And it brings me a lot of motivation to drive this research. And I also do that my research matter. So my job, I'm not just doing like science for science, because my research is translational here. It's leukemia as any kind of cancer. It is very like genetic, because it accumulates mutations, and those mutations drive the disease as well as they make this disease untreatable. So we are trying to find those combination of untreatable mutations and try to treat them, because like, for example, we have those mutations in 30% of patients. So 30%, it's not half, like it's like, or 15%. It sounds, if you're talking about percentage, it's not a lot, but talking about a child, when it's your family member, like one single, not even when it's your family member, one single child, it matters. So like to treat this child and to save his life or her life, and to let this person grow up and make its dream life, it matters. And I do want to bring the same experience to Ukraine and try to establish this at home as well, because we are very behind, and we are not about to emigrate. Like my family, my husband is still fighting in war, and me as a scientist who wants to come back. So I want to bring this translational type of research to Ukraine to help Ukrainian pediatric oncologists and adult oncologists as well.
While some scientists study cells and radiation, others work with feathers and flight. Ornithologist and educator Hannah Kuzio did not grow up dreaming of birds, but a single trip changed everything.
When I was a kid, I wasn't into nature and wildlife. I liked sitting at home and reading books, and I knew about nature only those things which I read in books. But when I entered university in Lviv, in my hometown, I wanted to study ecology, and I entered biology faculty. And during the first year of studying in university, I had a chance to visit ornithological station outside, not far from Lviv, where ornithologists ring birds. They study bird migration. So they catch birds, measure them, note everything in field like journals, put rings on birds, and then free them. And I had opportunity to participate in this field research like a volunteer, just to help, to observe. It was shock for me. It was my first experience in field, my first nights in the tent, and first time I met scientists, field scientists during their field work, ornithologists. First time I saw birds so close, and first time I was holding a bird in my hand. It was a very special experience. And after that, in university, I had other opportunities to participate in real scientific expeditions, bird counts. I met ornithologists, PhD students, older students who did their master degrees and scientific field work. Everything was new, but very interesting, inspiring for me. Completely new experience. So I think I fell in love with birds and nature.
Love for birds soon became a mission, helping others notice the life singing outside their windows. Like radiation and cancer, war also scars landscapes. For Hannah and her colleagues, studying birds now means navigating front lines, landmines, and forbidding forests.
How war affected wildlife? It's a very big topic. So you could find some information in articles. There are not so many science research now because the war is still ongoing in big territory of Ukraine. So first of all, we need to remember that part of Ukraine is still occupied by Russian army. And in that part, in eastern part, and also in Crimea, in the south of Ukraine, on occupied territories, we don't have data information what's going on there with wildlife, with nature protection, what happened with even protected areas which were earlier Ukrainian, and now those territories are occupied. So we could only assume that some habitats could be destroyed and etc. But until we while we don't have approach and opportunity to visit and to conduct research on those areas, we don't have information. The second thing we need to remember that we have a front line which is long, and there are a lot of points, hot points where battles and like attacks by missiles, drones are being made. So all these spots with fights, with bombings, it's very heavy impact, of course, on surroundings, on everything, and on birds as well. Those territories which were deoccupied, which were occupied, for example, in 2022, and then like in Donetsk region, in Kharkiv regions, some big areas were deoccupied again by Ukrainian army, and Ukrainians went back there, again started working there. There are some national parks which were occupied, like Sveti Vora, for example, in Donetsk region, and they went back to their work, to monitoring, biodiversity monitoring. So they try to do their best, but we need to understand that many people, they flee from Ukraine who worked in those areas, and so the area potentially is dangerous everywhere where Russian army was. So you never know if you can go just there in the forest or not. Usually in those areas, if scientists are working, they are working only on the trails which were checked by militaries, which are safe to walk, and you cannot walk right or left. It's dangerous. It could be dangerous.
Even far from the front line, restrictions are reshaping how Ukrainians meet wildlife.
For example, big water reservoirs near power stations, which are used to cool the power stations, and in wintertime those locations are important bird spots where a lot of species are coming to spend winter there. So ornithologists used to do monitoring of wintering species in some locations of such water reservoirs. Also, such places are hotspots for bird watchers, and now you cannot visit those areas because it's critical infrastructure and often it is attacked by Russian missiles and drones. That means that now those places we cannot visit, we cannot check and make observations, unfortunately. And it is just one of examples of such restrictions. In big part of territory of Ukraine, you cannot visit, you are not allowed to visit forests because they potentially could be mined or used by Ukrainian militaries for defense, and they could be mined earlier in 2022 to prevent Russians moving in Ukraine. So this visiting of forests in many regions of Ukraine could be challenging.
In the middle of these dangers, bird watching has become something unexpected, a form of therapy and a doorway to citizen science.
I used to promote bird watching earlier. Now I'm still doing that, but now I'm also doing a lot of environmental education with kids. So citizen science, I would say that it's becoming more popular now. I think the big growth of it started during COVID times, when people were looking for some kind of activities which they can do outdoor. And with war, it stopped slightly at the beginning of full-scale war, but later when we understood that it will not stop soon, we continue living our lives and trying to do the things we used to do. So bird watchers continued bird watching, visiting their favorite location if it is possible, etc. So I would say that now, bird watching is becoming even more popular. I see this in social media. People are stressed and they try to find any ways to relieve their stress, to think about something else. My dream is that Ukrainians are taking care, they are protecting their mother nature. But to protect something, you need to love something. You will protect only things which you love, and you will love only things which you know. So first of all, it's important to get people to know nature, their mother nature. Very often they know about nature of maybe Africa even better than nature of Ukraine. It's good to know about wildlife of different corners of the world, but it's so sad when people don't know what birds are singing just out of their window. I had a group of children from one school. They wanted to watch birds in the ponds near Lviv. So we went there by bus and had a walk, a few hours, watching birds. And it was period, I think that end of May, when birds are breeding in Ukraine, and it's very interesting to observe them. And on those ponds there is colony of terns, and we had the possibility to stand and to observe all these nests which are on the water, on the plants which grow on the water, and like terns which are bringing food to their nestlings. And of course it's adorable, and for kids it was interesting. I remember after this experience, one boy, he told that, he told his mom, and his mom told this story, and I love it so much. He told, Mom, there was a little hut by the lake, and I would like to live in that hut to observe my favorite terns, colony of terns there. I think that actually there are a lot to see there for everyone. So I agree with this boy. Terns are amazing birds, and in nature there are always something to see for everyone. Personally, my opinion is that nature helps us to see hope in dark times. And I wish you to see the hope and life in the times of darkness and death. Personally, nature supports me and reminds me that life is still going on. I'm still living, and I'm still have possibility to support this life. And I wish you to see these possibilities to support life, to help wildlife and wild species.
For Katrina, the line between scientists and soldier finally dissolved. Her work on radiation didn't end. It moved to the front.
And next step for me after that, it was joining to the army. Now I am a private in Khartia Brigade. I'm a chemistry dosimetrist. It's actually close to my scientific specialization. And what can I say? All your scientific mind and skills you have to research, it's important in army too. And English language. And now I use all that to protect my country.
Her open-air laboratory has become a battlefield. But the mindset of a scientist still guides her.
I still believe after we will win in this big war, and we can back to our scientific activities, and all my joy about this I want to share to you and push you. Science, it's a great possibility to spend your life, and even in bad times, you always feel like you're supported by your colleagues from all the world. And I believe scientific community, it's a really great community, the best community in the world. Join to us.
Back in Boston, Eleanor continues her research, but always with one ear tuned to war updates from Ukraine.
If you're talking about balancing professional excellence and emotional resilience in wartime, it is not easy, but work is something that helps me to be resilient to life that I've lost because of the war. The family I've lost because of the war. That relationship, we have some kind of relationship, we are messengers or we are FaceTime, but it's not the same living together, growing son together, a child together, etc. And I also lost some friends, close friends in Ukraine. Sometimes I still collaborate with some Ukrainian newspapers and online resources. I write for them because I like writing, and this job helped me to see science not just a bunch of experiments, but to see a bridge in between single experiment or single project and scientific value. If you are a young scientist, and science is hard, first of all, science is really hard because 80-90% of your experiments will fail, and you need extra resilience to go through it because you work hard and your experiments don't work. tomorrow you come and you have to repeat. And sometimes to solve the issue, you need to spend a year. If you love science as deeply as I do, it would help you. If you love the thing what you do, if you love the process of exploration, if you love pipetting, if you love, like, do what you love and gain as much experience as you can to become an independent scientist in future, and make it fun. If it's fun, if it's something that keeps your minds away from hard stuff in other parts of the life, or like world which is going to hell, like in my country right now, I would say if it is something like that, you should definitely become a scientist. You should definitely develop those skills and try to get as most developed skills as it's possible to do science that really matter. Talking about hope, like science, like cancer research and in leukemia research that I do right now, it brings a lot of hope, because like on cell lines, even on animals, you can see that your concept works, your drug combination kills the disease, and it brings a hope for future that you will save your lives. And I think, like, when I think about my future, when I think like what should I do in future? Like someone told me, oh, it's so easy for you to get a medical degree right now and become a doctor. Yeah, but as a doctor I can treat, let's say, 200 patients. But as a scientist who does the research, I could save more lives. So always remember about that.
While Eleanor counts leukemia cells and Katrina measures radiation, Hannah listens for birds and for something deeper.
I wish you to find peace and strength in nature and return from nature to your work and help to protect this nature again and again.
In Ukraine, war reshapes everything. Research, projects, family life, even forest paths. Yet, in radioactive soil, in petri dishes of leukemia cells, and in the flight of terns over a quiet pond, life insists on continuing. Scientists like Katrina, Ilona, and Hannah are not only measuring that persistence, they are part of it, proving that knowledge, care, and curiosity can endure even in the hardest times. In the end, science is not only about experiments and data, it's about choosing every day to protect life and to believe in a future worth returning to.